Hello guys, today we're going to be talking about how to become your best self, and a little sneak peek. This episode is basically going to be on, not me calling this an episode, okay, this podcast. This episode is going to be on creating your alter ego. First of all, I need to zoom you guys in because I feel like you guys feel far away. I have a DIY mic. I have my actual mic here, which I like to hold because something about it makes me feel professional, but it's clipped onto a measuring cup. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Erin. If you're new here, I post videos on self-development, fashion, and lifestyle content. And if you aren't subscribed already, I would love to have you. So please subscribe. And if you are an already subscribed member of my channel, welcome back. I'm so glad you're here. Most likely in your life, there is a version of you that you want to be, but that you are afraid to be. And I'm going to basically explain to you in this video how you can become her. The world's most confident and successful people in the world have alter egos, and I think this is because we can get so caught up in our own thoughts of who we are. Like, we think we are this specific person. We have our own image of like who we are, how we perceive ourselves, how we think other people perceive us, and we become so rigid within that it becomes hard to like step out of that. So let's say we're super quiet, but we actually want to be really extroverted. We find it hard to navigate getting to that place because we have this identity that we're so stuck on. Like, we truly believe this is us, and if we act any other way, then it's fake, then we're pretending, then it's not real. But that isn't actually the case. One, first of all, a lot of the times the way we think people perceive us isn't actually accurate. We can think that we are a certain way but be perceived some way completely different. So just because we think that our personality is way A doesn't mean that it actually is way A. It doesn't mean that we can't change from way A. You've probably heard of like Beyonce's alter ego, Sasha Fierce. She has talked about that multiple times, as well as like Marilyn Monroe. She has talked about the fact that she used to put on her personality when she would go out. Like, she put on Marilyn Monroe, and if she didn't put it on, she wouldn't be looked at. She wouldn't be perceived in the way that she was wanting to be perceived when she would put on Marilyn Monroe. It was a choice that these women made to be perceived the way that they're being perceived, and to be like so openly confident and to come off in that way as confident. They have both actually said that they are very quiet or shy or more introverted or not as confident as these people they're pretending to be. And so I think that's a nice reminder for us as well, that are just normal human beings, that we can create these like alter egos and pretend to be these other versions of ourselves. Honestly, if we don't have to pretend to be other versions of ourselves, we can pretend to become someone completely different, and you can step into that energy and be that person and execute the things you're wanting to execute from that energy, from that person that you want to be. So I want to break down basically how you can create your alter ego. I actually posted a video recently. It was called like, do this one thing to become your best self. And I really liked that video, and I feel like if you watch it, you'll get some good insight on how to tap into that best version of yourself, which can give you a lot of insight on who this alter ego would be. Because ideally, you're going to make your alter ego the person that you want to be, right? Like, you're going to make it that best version of yourself or your higher self. So that's a good way to kind of bridge the gap right there and be able to get a clearer vision on what that person is. Another thing that you can do is just ask yourself questions and kind of inquire on who this person is. Who is she? What does she look like? What does she feel like? What does she smell like? What does she like? What are the things she says? What does she do in her free time? What are her friends like? What is her job? What's her career? Yada, yada, yada. You get the gist. Go into all of it. Who, what, where, when, why, how. Do one of those thingies. Pretend we're in English class and get into all the little details of all that. Can do is look at the goals that you have and ask yourself who would be the type of person that would achieve those goals, and then you can make your alter ego basically centered around that. So whether you have the goal of being a mom and raising a family, or the goal of being a really successful businesswoman or an author or a singer or a painter or whatever, whoever it is, who would be the type of person that's actually going to achieve those goals, and try and like center your alter ego around that. Something that I did recently, I'm a Pinterest girly through and through, so if you are a Pinterest girly, you'll probably love this. I made an entire board called Alter Ego, and I basically pinned pictures and quotes and like movie scenes that have quotes, if you know what I'm talking about, that really encapsulate the way that I want to feel and the people that I want to embody. So I'll put a few on the screen as an example of like things that are in that board for me, and I feel like that's a really good way. I'm a very visual person, so sometimes having like a visual aspect to look at helps me connect the feeling of being that way. Sometimes the events that we're going to need to pull our alter egos out are when we're our most nervous. Like you're about to go on stage, you're about to go on a first date, you're about to have an interview. Those moments when you get really, really, really nervous, when you want to be your most like closed off, quiet self because you're scared, but you need to be your biggest, baddest, bitchiest self. That's when the alter ego is like, okay, let's go. Like, I'm here. Don't worry, Erin. You can relax in the background. I'll do this part. I'll take care of this. And I feel like if you really tap into that energy, if you really snap into like, I am now this person, like there is no question about it. I am her. You can just walk differently and act differently and speak differently, and you have this confidence that you don't naturally have. It's like that aspect of like you're faking it till you make it, or you're pretending to be the person you want to be until you actually are that person. And that's another thing about this is you're not going to have to do this forever. Like I think I've heard Beyonce say in an interview that she's actually killed Sasha Fierce, which basically means she doesn't pretend to be that way anymore. She doesn't put on that act or that personality or that ego anymore. She doesn't need to, because she's merged who she is, Beyonce and Sasha Fierce together, and they've become one. So it doesn't feel fake anymore. She doesn't have to pretend. It's just who she is. And our brains work like that in so many different ways. That's why the whole thing of like making jokes at your own expense is so dangerous, because your brain does not know the difference between like what's a joke, what's serious, what's real, what's not. Like the whole thing of visualizing or pretending that you're going through these situations, your body is experiencing all of the emotions that you would feel in all of the situations that you would actually feel them in, even if it's just in your thoughts. That works as well with your alter ego, and just pretending to be whoever it is you need to be in order to be your best self, until eventually you genuinely just are her, and there is no faking, there is no pretending, there is no putting on a person or consciously thinking to myself, I am now so and so. And if you want to have a name, like I know some people find it a lot easier to tap into that personality if they have a name. Use a name that you like, or you could use, for me personally, I kind of do like my middle name. Like I don't always do this, but sometimes I'm like, okay, I am Miriam. That's my middle name. But like in my head, I'm like, I'm Miriam, and I have an idea of who Miriam is. And Miriam is just this bad bitch who doesn't give a fuck about what anybody thinks, and she really is in her own world doing whatever she wants to do, and she's so confident, and she just thinks she's such an amazing person. Like she just thinks she's the shit, and she's also very kind, but she's just also very like full of herself in the best way possible. And so if you need a name, come up with a name, or use your middle name, or use your last name, or use a name that you like. And you don't have to necessarily use a name. Like I don't always think of the name whenever I tap into that energy, but sometimes it's useful. This is a really good piece of advice to have, because sometimes, especially when we're feeling low, it's so hard to go from feeling low to high, especially when online it feels like there's all these millions of steps we need to take in order to get there. We need to start going to the gym and start eating healthy and get a better job and get in the dream relationship and have amazing friendships and have the best wardrobe and get our Botox and travel the world and save our money and end world hunger, and like there's a million and one things we need to do in order to be that person we want to be. It feels like there's so many steps in order to get there, and it feels like such a hopeless battle, especially if you're in a state of not feeling necessarily confident or not feeling empowered. But by having an alter ego, it's easy because it's just one step. It's just like, now you're her. There is no do all these a million things. No, you can be sitting right here, do absolutely nothing except tell yourself, I am now so-and-so, and you have changed. Like you have genuinely changed the way that you interact in the world, and you start showing up as that person that you want to be, and your world will reflect that back to you. I promise. Like sometimes when I take Miko on walks, I'll literally in my head start walking as if I'm in a runway. I don't know why. I've done this since I was a little girl. I've always loved like strutting. Like I've always put on like runway shows for my aunts and my mom, and I still do this. I literally did this in, look at my outfit right now. I am in a big ass hoodie and sweatpants. My hair is in a greasy bun that needs to be washed. I am not looking my best, but I did have a runway on my street for my neighbors earlier, and they loved it, and I loved it, and it was amazing. So yeah, that's all because of alter ego, because that doesn't just naturally happen. Like I could easily be looking like this and feel like shit, you know? But because I'm like, no, there she is. it's just different. That was just the little tidbit I wanted to leave with you guys today because I feel like it's a little piece of advice that really does help. As I mentioned before, check out that other video. One thing you need to do to become your best self. I'll put it like here or here. I don't know where it is on the screen. You know, the spot. And yeah, if you are one of the people that like my sit down videos and you're seeing me post so much thrift content and fashion content, it's just because I've been really excited about that lately and I've been really loving it. And so I've been kind of like drifting over there a little bit, but don't think that my channel is completely becoming that. I'm definitely still gonna be posting self-development content and vlogs. And definitely check out my like thrift with me videos as well if you like style or fashion, or if you just want to spend some more quality time with me. And yeah, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Please turn on your post notifications. You can do that by clicking the little bell, and that'll basically just tell you, like it'll notify you on your phone when I post. That way I don't get lost in like the sea of your subscriptions. Also follow me on Instagram. I have been so consistent on there, posting so many reels and little like vlogs and outfits of the day and whatever. Follow me on TikTok if you want to as well. Comment down below your thoughts on this, and if you've heard of anybody else that does the alter ego thing, definitely comment down below and let me know, because I know there's like a few celebrities that do it, but I'm sure that there's a lot more than we think. Anyways, I love you guys so much, and I'm so glad that I'm just sitting here talking to you. This makes me so happy. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Love you. Bye.